My dear, I find it incredibly challenging to articulate this, as I recognize that once the words are uttered, everything between us will change. I have sensed your growing curiosity, your efforts to unravel the facets of my past that I have kept concealed from you. I can feel your gaze searching for answers within my silence, and I have been grappling with the burden of what I am about to reveal. It's not that I wish to withhold the truth from you, rather, I am apprehensive about how it may alter your perception of me. The reality is that the woman I married is indeed the same one you have been inquiring about, someone who has been part of my life for many years, long before our paths ever crossed. It is not as straightforward as it may seem, it is not a fairy tale or a perfect love story. Instead, it is intricately complex, painfully so. I can imagine your heart sinking as you read this, your breath catching in your chest, and the myriad questions racing through your mind. Was she my great love? Do I still harbor feelings for her? Have I been deceitful toward you all this time? I want to clarify right now, no, you are not living in her shadow, nor are you second place in my heart. However, before I can elucidate that further, I must share everything with you, the entire unfiltered truth. You deserve that, and more than my half-hearted explanations and carefully selected words. You deserve complete honesty, something I have been too cowardly to voice aloud. When I married her, it was not out of love as profound as what I feel for you. It lacked the fireworks and deep soul connection. It was born of convenience, timing, and familial expectations, elements that do not constitute a genuine relationship but somehow tether two individuals together nonetheless. While we did share a history, it was built on something fragile and never truly felt like home. I convinced myself it was the right choice, that I might eventually grow into it, and perhaps that love would blossom over time. But, my dear, the kind of love I have for you does not simply arise later, it either exists from the beginning or it does not. With her, it was never present in the way it was meant to be. For years, I played the role of a devoted husband, smiling for photographs, attending family events, and maintaining the facade of happiness. Yet inside, I felt hollow. I coexisted with someone yet felt more isolated than I ever had before. I was suffocating in the monotony of a relationship that failed to nurture my spirit. Then you arrived in my life and everything shifted in an unexpected way. I wasn't searching for you, but from our very first conversation, from the moment I realized you truly saw me without the masks I wore, I felt a profound change. You reignited something within me that I believed had long since extinguished. You made me laugh as I hadn't in years. I tried to brush it off, persuading myself that it was merely a figment of my imagination, yet one cannot easily deceive the soul regarding its true counterpart. The most difficult aspect hasn't been falling for you, that was almost effortless. The real challenge has been managing my desire to offer you everything while disentangling myself from my past. This struggle is accompanied by guilt for not freeing myself sooner and for allowing circumstances to linger longer than necessary. Nevertheless, I possess a quiet determination. When I finally fully embrace you, it will be unencumbered by baggage. No strings attached, no secrets lingering, and certainly no looking back. In the serenity of the night, I often reflect on the moment we first exchanged glances. I didn't realize it at the time, but it marked the initial fracture in the barriers I had constructed over the years. With every conversation, my defenses began to crumble. You asked questions that others shied away from, seeing through me in a way that was both intimidating and beautiful. You reignited a spark within me, one I cannot simply walk away from. She senses the change. Even when close, she feels my absence. She notices how my eyes no longer light up for her as they once did. Recently, her questions have sharpened, probing into my late nights, my silences, and the reasons for the smiles I direct at my phone. I have sidestepped the truth, fully aware that confronting her directly would shatter the fragile peace we maintain. However, peace built on deception is not peace at all, it is merely a temporary lull before the inevitable storm. I no longer dread that explosion, for should the truth tear everything apart, so be it. I would rather face the ashes with you than remain in a fortress devoid of love. This conviction runs deep within me, I am resolute about you. Are you aware of the profound effect you've had on me? You have transformed me in remarkable ways, making me incapable of settling for mediocre love. You have liberated me from complacency, from merely going through the motions, and from pretending that everything is fine when it is not. I cannot revert to that existence, now or ever. There is a freedom in loving you that I have never known. I can truly be myself, the flawed, chaotic, passionate version. You do not just tolerate these aspects, you embrace them. That is how I understand that this is not a fleeting infatuation, this is something deep and lasting. I dream of the day I close the door on that past chapter for good. I see myself walking away with unwavering conviction, not out of animosity, but because I love you more than I have ever loved anyone. When I reach you, I will not carry the burdens of my past, rather, I will come bearing flowers, promises, and all that remains of my life to share with you. You are not merely a companion during my solitude, you are not an escape from my struggles. You are the answer I did not realize I had been yearning for. When I say you have changed me, I mean you have completely redefined my understanding of love. Each time I replay our conversations in my mind, I can almost hear the underlying truths within the words. I notice how your voice softens when you consider a future for us, the hesitation in your questions about my certainty, and the subtle longing I sense when I take too long to respond. You may think I overlook these nuances, but I do not, they resonate deeply within me. I am acutely aware that you are holding space for me as I disentangle myself from a life that no longer deserves me. For far too long, I existed in a love that appeared safe on the surface but was empty beneath. A relationship that seemed solid to outsiders yet dwindled in the quiet moments when the world remained oblivious. To be honest, I played a role in that decline as well. I distanced myself emotionally long before you entered my life. Initially, I chose to stay in my previous situation because dismantling my entire life felt too daunting. Yet, you arrived, making it impossible to maintain that semblance of stability. You turned the act of pretending into a painful burden. It strikes me as a cruel irony that the person who awakens your spirit may not be the one you have spent years with. However, perhaps this realization is not cruel at all, rather, It could be a profound gift from the universe, demonstrating that true love is meant to burn brightly rather than flicker weakly, and profound connections should never feel half-hearted. When I encountered you, the universe did not merely whisper secrets, it declared loudly, "Here lies what has been absent from your life. Do not let this go." She understands you in ways beyond words. Perhaps she isn't fully aware yet, but she senses the transformation in my heart. I can see it reflected in her gaze, as if she's reaching for someone who's already gone. There are instances when her voice sharpens, her inquiries become piercing, as she seeks clarity about my changed demeanor. I never intended to cause her pain. Nonetheless, the reality is that staying for her would inflict greater sorrow on both of us. The most challenging part is not her, it's you. It's grappling with the knowledge that as I close one chapter of my life, I am asking you to wait with an open heart, uncertain of how long this transformation will take. This thought occupies my mind incessantly. I admire your strength, your patience, and your understanding, which only deepens my love for you. You exert no pressure on me, instead, you stand steadfastly by my side. That is not a sign of weakness, it is an extraordinary kind of strength I never knew existed. I often revisit a moment in my mind, the night I nearly revealed my truths to you. You were across from me, smiling in a way that concealed the depth of your concern. I felt the truth rising within me, the words, "I am leaving her for you," resting on my tongue. Ultimately, I swallowed them, not because they were untrue, but because I wanted to ensure that when I finally spoke them, it would mark the last time I would need to justify myself. When I claim to belong to you, I intend for it to be definitive and irreversible. You've reshaped me in ways for which I will be eternally grateful. You've taught me that love should be vibrant and alive, not just at the beginning, but every single day. You've made me realize that passion isn't meant to fade into monotony, that laughter shouldn't yield to silence, and that touch should never grow habitual. I understand now that I do not desire the merely sufficient, I yearn for the extraordinary, and that extraordinary essence is you. When I finally step into your life, unencumbered by the shadows of the past, I will not arrive empty-handed. I carry with me every dream that has involved you, each plan formulated in my mind, and every small detail about you left unspoken. I cling to the memory of how your eyes sparkle just before laughter escapes, the warmth of your hand resting against mine, and the unmistakable way my name resonates when it is spoken by your lips. This journey transcends merely leaving someone behind. It is about choosing you, about choosing us, and I have already made that choice deep within my heart. Now, it's merely a question of time before the external circumstances align. You provided me with a sense of safety that allowed me to express the truth, even when I struggled to act upon that courage. This confession matters deeply because you deserve to know that my heart was never meant for her, it was waiting for you. I understand you might be questioning why I didn't reveal this sooner, why I allowed you to uncover it through hints and murmurs rather than with my own voice. The truth is, I was afraid you would perceive me as a man who toys with emotions, or that you might think of yourself as merely a distraction from my marriage. The fact is that my marriage was effectively over in every significant sense long before you entered the picture. What we share is real. It is the only genuine connection I have felt in a considerable time. I come to you now because I cannot proceed alongside you while concealing fragments of my past. I want you to see the entirety of who I am, the good, the bad, and the chaotic. Yes, she has been part of my life for an extended period, but she does not possess my soul. You do, you always will. If it takes the rest of my life to demonstrate that to you, I will do so. When I say she has been in my life for many years, I do not refer solely to her physical presence. I mean that, similar to a shadow, she has lingered long after the light between us has faded. For too long, I was trudging through life burdened by this weight I hardly recognized until you showed me what it means to experience freedom. You made me aware that my normal was, in fact, not normal at all but rather a means of survival. And after surviving for so long, your love feels almost overwhelming to accept. I once believed that the most difficult aspect of life was letting go of someone you had loved for years. However, I have come to learn that the true challenge lies in releasing someone you have simply become accustomed to. Comfort, even when rooted in emptiness, can deceive you into believing it is safety. That is precisely what happened in my situation. I convinced myself that because we had shared history and spent years together, we could still make it work. But one cannot construct a future solely based on the length of the past. Love, trust, and connection are imperative, qualities that were never genuinely present. Then you entered my life, your smile dismantling even the strongest barriers. Your words pierced through my defenses. You did not merely step into my life, you moved straight into my soul as though you had always belonged there. It became evident to me that the affection I had been pretending to maintain for all those years paled in comparison to the intense love that ignited between us in just a matter of moments. I could not ignore it, I could not deny its existence. I could not continue living a falsehood when the truth was so apparent. Yet, my love, I must emphasize that sharing this with you is not about creating drama or making you feel victorious over her. You were never competing with her. She possessed my past, yes, but you hold my future. She may have understood my habits and routines, my superficial self, but you recognize my fears, my aspirations. You have touched those parts of me that I have never let anyone else near. Do you know how many nights I spent lying next to her, my thoughts filled with you? How many times I sat in the same room as her, hearing her voice, while all I could focus on was how safe yours made me feel. I smiled at the appropriate moments, nodded when expected, but my heart was not present. My heart was always with you. From the very moment we met, it has belonged to you, even at times when I did not fully comprehend what I was experiencing. She is now aware of your existence, yet it is you, and only you, who holds the key to my heart. She is well aware of your name, your presence, and the influence you have had. Unfortunately, her feelings regarding this awareness are decidedly unfavorable. She has posed inquiries that I have skillfully avoided, as I did not wish to draw you into this tumult until I was prepared to confront it directly. Yet, storms do not wait for our consent. They arrive with or without readiness, and this particular one has indeed arrived. I understand you may harbor fears about my continued ties to her, particularly those that may carry significance. While it is true that, on paper, some connections may persist. In every meaningful aspect, I belong to you. My loyalty, devotion, and genuine desire to build something substantial are all directed towards you. I refuse to live a life where I must continuously justify myself to someone with whom I lack love. Rather, I yearn for a life where I awaken beside the individual who ignites my heart for all the right reasons. I aspire to be yours in every conceivable manner. The moment I confronted the truth, that I could no longer endure this situation, was also the moment I envisaged losing you. The prospect of you walking away because I lacked the courage to be honest shattered something within me. I could not tolerate the thought of you perceiving yourself as merely a chapter in my life, when, in reality, you are the entirety of my story. My dear, I am not infallible. I have erred. I have lingered in relationships for too long and remained silent when I should have spoken up. Yet, one thing I vow never to do again is allow fear to inhibit my pursuit of you. You have provided me with something unique, an affection that feels like home, even amidst external chaos. For this, I am determined to dedicate my life to demonstrating that choosing me will prove worthwhile. I acknowledge that people will talk, indeed, they do so already. They will gossip about timelines and loyalty, about what is right and what is wrong. However, those individuals do not know the depth of our bond. They are unaware of how you calm my storms, how I breathe more easily in your presence, or how your voice can draw me back from the precipice of despair. They fail to grasp that certain connections are predestined long before our existence, and our connection was one such bond. I feel it in my very being, in my soul, and in how I cannot go an entire day without pondering you. So now you are aware. She has been part of my life for numerous years, but she has never represented my forever. You do. I am prepared to do whatever it takes to ensure you never doubt this truth again. If it necessitates confronting the aftermath, if it requires starting anew from scratch, if it involves severing all ties that bind me to her, then so be it. No shared history, no past filled with familiarities, and no empty promises are worth sacrificing the one individual who embodies my future. Perhaps the reality is that I once believed love was defined by the number of years invested, the shared memories, the holidays celebrated, the photographs adorning the walls. I equated longevity with stability. Yet the years I endured with her imparted a painful lesson. Time does not inherently deepen love. Sometimes, it merely ingrains the habit of remaining. Remaining out of habit is not equivalent to remaining out of love. I did not realize how desensitized I had become until you entered my life and awakened my soul. Your presence illuminated parts of me I had long thought extinguished. You did not merely take a position in my life, you reorganized the entire space. I found myself smiling spontaneously, contemplating you in moments where my focus should have been elsewhere. Each time I attempted to resist it, every time I insisted to myself that it was merely a fleeting phase, an internal voice would insist, "This is different. This is the one." Yes, she was in my life for years, but what remains unseen are the fissures that formed long ago. Our discussions about dreams dwindled, meaningful touches ceased, and we transitioned from partners to cohabitants, from lovers to mere acquaintances sharing a space without a heartbeat in sync. I kept assuring myself that everything was fine because I had no concept of what more could entail. Until you appeared. When you touched me, beyond the physical, through your words, your understanding, and your laughter, I experienced a depth of connection I had not encountered in years. A genuine connection. The sense of being truly acknowledged, as if someone had pulled back the curtains in a room where I had languished in darkness for far too long. You became the light I was unconsciously searching for. Please understand, my dear, being with you feels like finally breathing after years of suffocation. Once one has felt that kind of relief, there is no returning to confinement. Yet, the choice to break free involves more than just leaving her, it encompasses the willingness to embrace life authentically. With you, I am not merely existing, I am vibrantly alive. Yes, she senses the shift, she perceives it. My demeanor, my focus, the way I carry myself, it has all transformed, for my heart now belongs elsewhere. There have been inquiries, and silent nights where she observes me, attempting to read my mind. But how does one articulate to a person who has been a significant part of one's life for so long that they have been displaced in the heart? How does one convey that, although respect for our past remains, it is no longer where my soul resides? I am aware of what you may be thinking, that if I truly loved you, I would have already departed. And, trust me, I have grappled with that thought as well. However, unwinding years of entanglement is not as straightforward as packing a bag. It is not merely about vacating a physical space, it is about relearning a life. I am detaching from patterns, from expectations, from the version of myself I had to embody in that relationship. You must know that with every step I take away from her, I am moving closer to you. You have uncovered aspects of me I have never shared with anyone. You have heard the truth etched in my voice when I express my love for you, even if those words are conveyed in whispers. You have felt the intensity with which I hold you, as if fearing you might vanish if I release my grip. That is not infatuation, it is not mere desire. It is home. You are my home. People are entitled to their opinions. They may label me as selfish, reckless, or misguided. Yet, they fail to grasp that when you encounter someone who truly ignites your spirit, you must fight for them. You should not allow them to fade away for the sake of comfort or societal expectations. Comfort does not fuel your passion, you do. I must confess something important. Even before you were aware of the entire situation, even prior to my full disclosure, I was making decisions with you at the forefront of my mind. I envisioned a future adorned with your name. I began to notice various aspects of you, how your laughter inspired me to be wittier, how your drive compelled me to strive harder, and how your kindness motivated me to love more deeply. You inspired me to be a better man. Not for anyone else, but for you. I cannot guarantee that our journey will be easy. I cannot assure you that the past will not attempt to re-enter my life. However, I can assure you of one thing, I will not abandon us. I will not allow years of convenience to overshadow a lifetime of love, for that is what you represent to me, a lifetime. Yes, she has been part of my life for many years, but those years constitute chapters in a book I am prepared to close. You are my new narrative, my blank page, my everything moving forward. I desire every word, every sentence, every conclusion and commencement to involve you. There is a truth you may not fully grasp, a truth I have borne silently, seeking to shield you from the chaos of my past. Each time I say I love you, it transcends mere sweetness, it is an anchor. It serves as a reminder to myself of why I remain steadfast, navigating through storms, dismantling the life I constructed before you, to ultimately embrace the one I am meant to share with you. When I mention her long tenure in my life, others may assume she retains a claim on my heart. They mistakenly equate history with ownership, as if the past can eternally bind the heart. The reality is, she has not possessed my heart for quite some time. The moment you entered my life, my heart began to gravitate toward you unbidden. I attempted to dismiss it, convincing myself that I was imagining it all, yet one cannot feign the response of the soul to its counterpart. The most challenging aspect has not been falling for you, that was effortless. The hardest part has been restraining my desire to give you everything while extricating myself from what came before. There is guilt in that struggle, guilt for not departing sooner and for allowing the circumstances to persist longer than necessary. Yet, there exists a quiet resolve. When I finally embrace you fully, it will be without any baggage. No strings, no secrets, and no looking back. In the stillness of the night, I often find myself reflecting on the moment we first locked eyes. I was unaware then, but it signified the first crack in the walls I had erected over the years. With each conversation, my defenses weakened. You asked questions no one else dared to pose. You saw through me in a manner that was simultaneously terrifying and beautiful. You rekindled the spark within me, an experience I cannot simply walk away from. She senses the shift. Even in close proximity, she perceives my absence. She notices how my eyes no longer light up for her as they once did. Recently, her inquiries have become more pointed regarding my late nights, my silences, and the reasons behind my smiles directed at my phone. I have skirted around the truth, aware that confronting her directly would shatter the fragile peace we have. However, peace founded on deceit is not peace at all, it is merely a lull before the impending turmoil. I no longer fear that inevitable explosion, for if the truth dismantles everything, so be it. I would prefer to be left with ashes alongside you than to dwell in a castle devoid of love. This conviction runs deep for me, I am resolute about you. Do you realize the impact you have had on me? You have transformed me in the most remarkable way, making me incapable of accepting mediocre love. You have freed me from complacency, from navigating through the motions, and from pretending that everything is fine when it is not. I cannot revert to that existence, neither now nor ever. There is a liberation in loving you that I have never experienced. I can be my entire self, the flawed, chaotic, passionate aspects. You do not merely tolerate them, you embrace them. That is how I know this is not a fleeting infatuation, this is profound and everlasting. I envision the day I firmly close the door on that chapter for good. I see myself walking away with unwavering conviction, not out of animosity, but because I love you more than I have ever loved anyone. When I reach you, I will not carry the burdens of my past. Instead, I will bring flowers, a promise, and all that remains of my life to share with you. You are not merely a source of companionship during my solitude. You are not an escape from my struggles. You are the answer I did not realize I had been yearning for. When I say you have changed me, I mean you have completely redefined my understanding of love. Every time I replay our conversations in my mind, I can almost hear the truths underlying the words. I notice how your voice softens when you contemplate a future with us, the hesitation in your inquiries about my certainty, and the subtle longing when I take too long to respond. You may believe that I overlook these nuances, but I do not. They resonate with me deeply. I am acutely aware that you are holding space for me as I untangle myself from a life that no longer deserves me. For far too long, I existed within a version of love that appeared safe on the surface but was empty beneath. A relationship that seemed solid to outsiders while dwindling in the quiet moments when the world was oblivious. If I am honest, I played a part in that decline as well. I distanced myself emotionally long before you came into my life. Initially, I chose to remain in my previous situation because dismantling my entire life seemed more daunting. Yet, you arrived and made continuing in that semblance of stability impossible. You transformed the act of pretending into a painful burden. It often strikes me as a cruel irony that the person who awakens your spirit may not be the one you've shared years with. However, perhaps this realization is not cruel at all. Rather, it could be a profound gift from the universe, illustrating that true love is meant to burn brightly rather than flicker weakly, and profound connections shouldn't feel half-hearted. When I encountered you, the universe did not simply whisper secrets, it declared loudly, "Here lies what has been absent from your life. Do not let this go." She understands you in ways beyond words. Perhaps she isn't fully aware yet, but she senses the transformation in my heart. I can see it reflected in her gaze, as if she's grasping for someone who's already departed. There are moments when her voice sharpens, her inquiries turn piercing, as she seeks clarity on my changed demeanor. I never wished to cause her pain. Nevertheless, the reality is that remaining for her would inflict greater sorrow on both of us. The most challenging part is not her, it's you. It's grappling with the fact that as I close one chapter of my life, I am asking you to wait with an open heart, uncertain of how long this transformation will take. This thought occupies my mind constantly. I admire your strength, your patience, your understanding, which only deepens my love for you. You are not exerting pressure on me, instead, you stand steadfastly by my side. That is not a sign of weakness, it is an extraordinary kind of strength I never knew existed. I often revisit a moment in my mind, the night I almost revealed my truths to you. You sat across from me, smiling in that way that belies the depth of your concern. I felt the truth bubbling within me, the words, "I am leaving her for you," teetering on my tongue. Ultimately, I swallowed them, not because they were untrue, but because I wished to ensure that when I finally voiced them, it would mark the last time I would need to explain myself. When I claim to belong to you, I intend for it to be definitive and irreversible. You've reshaped me in ways for which I will be eternally grateful. You've taught me that love should be vibrant and alive, not just at the beginning, but every single day. You've made me realize that passion isn't meant to dwindle into monotony, that laughter shouldn't give way to silence, and that touch should never feel habitual. I understand now that I do not desire the merely sufficient, I yearn for the extraordinary, and that extraordinary essence is you. When I finally step into your life, unaccompanied by past shadows, I will not arrive empty-handed. I carry with me every dream that has involved you, each plan I have formulated in my mind, and every small detail about you that I have yet to express. I hold on to the memory of how your eyes sparkle just before laughter escapes, the warmth of your hand resting against mine, and the distinctive way my name resonates when it is spoken by your lips. This journey transcends merely leaving someone behind. It is about choosing you, about choosing us, and I have already made that choice deep within my heart. Now, it's simply a matter of time before the external circumstances align. Sometimes, I wonder if you comprehend the extent of your presence in my thoughts. You occupy my mind not only when I am awake but also in my dreams, in my aspirations, and in the fleeting daydreams that invade my concentration. My entire being seems re-engineered to orbit around you, and no matter how much I strive to conceal it, my feelings overflow uncontrollably. You've noticed this too, haven't you? The way my voice adopts a softer tone upon uttering your name, the way I find it difficult to divert my gaze from you without feeling a loss, and the intensity with which I listen to your words, as though each syllable is something vital to remember. And remember, I do. Every smile, every touch, every cherished moment that you have gifted me is kept close like treasured secrets, known only to me. However, what you may not perceive is that every time I have withdrawn or hesitated, it has not been due to a lack of desire. It stems from the fact that my yearning for you is so profound that it frightens me. It's not the act of loving you that intimidates me, I'm frightened by the prospect of failing you. I fear that if I pursue this relationship without resolving every loose end, I will introduce chaos into something that should be sanctified. The truth is, I have already crossed an invisible boundary in my heart, where she no longer resides. Yes, she remains a factor in my life on paper, and yes, there are still connections to sever. Yet the part that truly matters, my soul, my love, my loyalty, has irrevocably become yours. Each glance at you reinforces this truth, as does the sound of your voice, and in every vision of our future, you are the only person by my side. It's peculiar, isn't it? How someone can be part of your life for years without feeling like home, only to meet someone else who in mere weeks feels indelibly intertwined with your essence. You are that person for me. You represent the home I was unaware I sought, and now that I have discovered you, I refuse to let you go. I have contemplated what it will feel like to finally declare, it's over. She is no longer part of my life. It is just us now. I can already envision your eyes brightening with that glimmer of belief, realizing that there are no barriers between us anymore. I dream of holding you without guilt or hesitation, free from the need to consult the clock or my phone. I anticipate the serenity that will engulf me when I can finally express my love for you openly. But until that moment arrives, I will continue to find every possible way to demonstrate to you that you are the one I have chosen. In the manner in which I select you during our conversations, and in the way I carve out time for you despite any constraints, I am dedicated to shielding you from the harsh realities of this transition. You may not perceive everything that I do, but I assure you, you will feel its impact. You have become my motivation for every endeavor, propelling me to work harder, to dream even bigger, and to believe in my right to happiness after enduring so much. Consequently, I refuse to allow fear to drive me into recklessness. I will not jeopardize our connection through impatience. I yearn for our beginning to be pure, unblemished by the turmoil I am leaving behind. When the moment arrives that we are both truly free, everything will align perfectly, even amid the chaos of life. And what, may I ask, is the essence of this clarity? If there is one truth I need you to grasp, it is this: my choice to be with you is not merely an escape, but rather a destination. Soon, I will find my way home to you. Each time I reflect on you, an inexplicable ache fills my chest. It transcends mere longing or desire. It is a profound and restless necessity to be with you. I wish to eliminate every distance and barrier that separates us. The more I attempt to divert my thoughts, the more pronounced that pull becomes. It feels as though my soul instinctively knows where it belongs, and it will not allow me peace until I reach it. I've envisioned a life devoid of our encounter, and truthfully, the thought terrifies me. Before you, I believed I understood love. I saw it as comfort, routine, and stability. Yet, you have revealed an entirely different perspective: love that invigorates the spirit, love that spurs personal growth, and love that resembles the first exhilarating breath of fresh air after years of suffocation. This is the essence of what you represent to me, my first genuine breath in years. You possess an extraordinary ability to penetrate my defenses without any effort. I could resolve to keep my distance and maintain my guard, yet with just your smile or the way you listen earnestly, I find myself sharing intimate thoughts I have never voiced before. Are you cognizant of how exceptional that is? Are you aware of the vulnerability that accompanies such openness? Yet, with you, it feels undeniably safe. I must reiterate that my hesitation has never stemmed from a lack of desire for you. It arises from an overwhelming wish to offer you nothing less than the entirety of my being. I cannot present you with anything less than a complete commitment, for that would be unjust to both you and the bond we share. You deserve the version of me that is liberated, complete, and prepared to cultivate something real without reservations. I have often come close to reaching for my phone, intending to convey that I am ready to leave my current situation and embrace you fully. However, I hesitate, understanding that when I articulate those words, they must be accompanied by action. I long for the moment I approach you to mark the commencement of a journey where farewells are obsolete. Sometimes, I contemplate whether you are aware of my observations in your absence. I notice the delicate nuances, the way your lips press together in a futile attempt to suppress laughter, how you tuck your hair behind your ear when feeling uneasy, and how your eyes soften when you're genuinely listening. These are the moments I cherish, replaying them during sleepless nights when I need to feel connected to you despite the distance. When I am with her, it simply does not compare. It hasn't for quite some time. Our conversations feel strained, silences are burdensome, and even moments that should evoke intimacy carry an insurmountable distance, one that we are both acutely aware of. She tries to overlook it, but I can no longer do so, for I have experienced what true connection feels like. It resonates in every glance, every spoken word, every heartbeat shared between us. You encourage me to brave the oncoming storm. Every risk becomes worthwhile. Despite the chaos and brokenness, I am acutely aware of the reward that awaits on the other side. I have held on to a vision that plays repeatedly in my mind, a space that belongs to us, devoid of others' voices and rules, just us crafting something together, awakening next to one another free from hidden truths, sharing laughter over breakfast, debating minor issues only to reconcile moments later, and living in a manner that feels vibrant and alive each and every day. I assure you, that day will come. Perhaps not as swiftly as we both desire, yet it is closer than you might imagine. When it does arrive, it will not be due to mere chance, it will be because I fought for it and chose you relentlessly, even when faced with challenges. Thus, if there is a singular belief I wish for you to embrace, it is this: I am not merely envisioning a future with you, I am constructing it slowly and deliberately with each decision I make. Soon, the final step will be for us to embrace this future together. You may not fully grasp how much I have been reserving, not from a lack of emotion but rather from an excess of it. There is so much I yearn to express and accomplish, but I have been pacing myself, for the last thing I wish is to extend promises that I cannot fulfill at this moment. Each time I behold you, I envision the life we could create, only to be reminded of the barriers still in place. You cannot fathom how many times I have rehearsed the moment when I finally divulge everything. I've envisioned taking your hands, meeting your gaze directly, and saying, "It's done. I am entirely yours." I can envision the moment your breath catches, the relief washing over your face, and the tension in your shoulders dissipating because you would finally have clarity. Hold on to that vision as if it were essential for survival. Yet, until that moment arrives, I find myself navigating a relentless ebb and flow. My heart is already yours, while my physical existence remains anchored in a life that feels increasingly alien. I acknowledge how unjust this is to you and how burdensome it must be to love someone who is still unraveling the complications of a previous chapter. You are entirely justified in walking away, in declaring that it is too much to bear. However, your decision to stay and your continued presence speak volumes about you and about us. It reveals that you aren't here merely for convenience, rather, you are invested in something profound. You see beyond the chaos and recognize the man I am when I am with you, rather than the version I have become out of necessity. And that realization means everything to me. Your exceptional patience and grace are qualities that most would struggle to embody. I assure you, I will repay your kindness tenfold. What truly resonates with me are those unexpected glimpses of our future that ambush my thoughts at the most mundane moments, whether I am driving, seated in a meeting, or strolling down the street. In those instances, I envision us sharing dinner preparations, sitting together on the couch with our legs entwined, you nestled against me as we watch a film, unaware of its plot. I picture us with friends, your hand discreetly finding mine beneath the table, and even in our less harmonious moments, when frustrations flare, still reaching for each other before sleep. This is the love I desire with you, genuine and grounded in the everyday, not reliant on grand gestures but still accommodating them simply to keep the spark alive. It is a connection wherein silence speaks volumes of understanding. I want you to know, I am not merely waiting for the right moment to present itself, I am actively creating that moment. I am initiating changes that may currently be invisible to you, clearing obstacles of which you are unaware. Every choice I make intentionally leads to the day when I can finally enter your space, confident that I need not leave again. Sometimes, I ponder if you fully grasp the influence you wield over me. A simple glance from you can soothe my spirit or ignite my passion. Your absence leaves me restless and distracted, and even your silence conveys messages that no one else can interpret. You have become my language, my guiding star, my purpose. I do not know what I did to merit your presence in my life, but I am determined not to squander this opportunity. Because what we share is not a transient affair, it is not a fleeting escape, it is the most authentic experience I have ever encountered. I would rather devote years to nurturing it than spend a lifetime regretting that I did not. So, when the moment arrives for me to come to you fully, when everything is transparent and devoid of constraints, it will not simply signify the beginning of something new, it will symbolize that every struggle, every risk, every sacrifice has been worthwhile. Do you understand the weight of carrying someone in your heart continuously, even when the outside world remains unaware? It resembles harboring a beautiful yet delicate secret that you yearn to share with everyone while simultaneously feeling compelled to shield it from harm. You embody this paradox for me, my greatest joy and my most cherished secret. I often envision those quiet moments where I can finally express everything, no filters, no hesitations. I picture ourselves sitting together, my hands enveloping yours, allowing my thoughts and fears to flow freely. I imagine you listening, not with shock or judgment, but with the familiar understanding you have always exhibited. You make me feel that even my most chaotic truths are safe in your presence. That is an experience I have never encountered before. I find myself contemplating how liberating it will be when no secrets remain, no half-formed stories, no meticulously chosen words, just us, unfiltered and authentic. This is the end point I am striving to reach. But for now, I endure an ongoing ache, a longing rooted in knowing where I belong yet not being there yet. I love you completely, yet I am unable to give you my entire self. Do you recall that night when we exchanged little, but it felt as though all was spoken? That is the essence of our connection, we do not require countless words to communicate. Sometimes, understanding transpires in your subtle glances, in my instinctive reach for your hand, in our effortless laughter. It is remarkable. Many spend their lifetimes seeking such effortless connections, and I have found it with you, and I refuse to let it slip away. I recognize that I have been cautious, perhaps overly so. I acknowledge that you may have questioned my commitment at times. But, my love, my caution stems not from uncertainty but from preparation. I am ensuring that when I choose you, I do so with full conviction, without any reservations lingering in the background. I do not wish to pull you into an incomplete narrative. I want you to step into a story that is unequivocally ours from its inception. There exists a part of me that holds concern, not for us, but for the noise that will arise when others observe the depth of our bond. It is a familiar scenario. People talk, they twist the truth, transforming something pure into a weapon. I have witnessed this numerous times. Yet, I am prepared to face it, because I would prefer to be the subject of gossip for loving you than to receive commendations for feigning indifference. Recently, I have contemplated the concept of home. For the majority of my life, it has been associated with a physical space, four walls and a roof providing shelter. However, since you entered my life, home has transcended a mere location, it is now embodied in you. It is the feeling of comfort I experience in your presence and the softening of the world around me when your hand is not in mine. I recognize that we have not yet reached our destination, there remains a distance, uncompleted conversations, and nights when you fall asleep wondering when I will finally bridge that gap. But, my dear, I am making progress. Each day, I am getting closer. When I finally arrive, it will not merely be a visitation, it will signify the last departure I will ever have to endure. The reality is that I cannot envision my life without you, nor do I wish to entertain such a thought. You have integrated into me in ways I had not deemed possible, and I embrace this transformation because you have enriched my existence. You have instilled in me courage and desires I never realized I could possess. Therefore, I ask you to hold on just a bit longer. The day will come when I will gaze into your eyes and proclaim, I am home, and you will understand unequivocally that I mean it and that I have fought diligently for it. I sometimes reflect on how different things might have been had I been truthful from the outset. If I had gazed into your eyes during that initial spark and told you, it has always been you. Instead, I withheld my feelings, attempting to exercise caution and containing emotions I believed were manageable. The truth is, those feelings were never small, they have been intensifying with every passing day and have now grown too substantial to conceal. You cannot imagine how many restless nights I have spent replaying our shared moments in my mind. The way you looked at me the first time we genuinely laughed together, how your voice mellows when you are calming me without realizing it, and the melody of my name on your lips, even in frustration. Every facet of you is etched into me as if it has always been there. I have observed you from a distance, sometimes closer than others, but always with a twinge of longing. You may perceive my strength in not breaking before you, yet I have been quietly shattering for far too long. Each time I walk away, each time I remain silent, each time I restrain my desire to draw you near, it erodes a little more of myself. Nevertheless, I endure it because I do not wish to offer you anything less than whole. I desire to present you with a love that has no remnants scattered elsewhere. That is the love you deserve, and it is the love I aspire to give you. I sense that you might already perceive more than I articulate, you read between the lines and feel the unspoken sentiments. You possess an uncanny ability to see past my barriers and recognize the truth in my eyes before I am even aware of it. This duality of fear and comfort envelopes me because if you can see my essence so clearly and still choose to remain, then perhaps there is hope for me. Do you comprehend how many times I have nearly uttered those words I carry within? There have been moments when they hovered on the brink of my tongue, halted only by fear and timing, the weight of knowing that once spoken, there is no retraction. Perhaps that has always been the crux, not fearing my love for you, but fearing the changes it would bring once laid bare. Yet, I am weary of allowing fear to govern my actions. I tire of restraint when every fiber of my being longs to advance, and I tire of pretending I am not irrevocably yours. I have noticed a newfound strength within you lately. It resonates with a quiet power, as if you prepared yourself for the shift that looms ahead. This realization that we both needed to be ready, not just one of us, now seems evident. I have envisaged countless scenarios for the day I finally reveal everything to you. In some, it unfolds calmly, in a serene space where my words flow freely. In others, it is raw, filled with tangible tension and possibly tears, yet it concludes with relief and a kiss that dissolves all the waiting. In each version, you persist, you remain steadfast, never withdrawing or looking upon me as though I have tarnished something. Instead, you regard me as though I have finally returned home. That is my aspiration, the reason for my ongoing commitment amid the tumult, the distance, and the silence. Regardless of how complicated it becomes or how lengthy the journey may be, you are the destination. I refuse to settle for anything less. So, while we may not be there yet and have further to traverse, I promise this: when I finally cross that threshold, there will be no retreat. I have always sensed, deep down, that we would arrive at this juncture, standing at the precipice of unspoken truths with nowhere left to conceal ourselves. It is a strange peace, akin to finally releasing a breath held for years. You represent the air I have been yearning to inhale. I do not want you to believe for a moment that this path has been easy. It has not. Each moment, both shared and unshared, has required a constant struggle between my heart's desires and the limitations imposed by circumstance. Yet here, in this instant, I choose not to dwell on obstacles or societal opinions. My focus is solely on you, my unwavering constant, even when I lacked the courage to voice my feelings. I want to express my gratitude for your unwavering patience, especially when I didn't think I deserved it. You've witnessed my true self at times when I was too afraid to reveal it. I've held back my feelings because I feared losing you before I was ready to give you all of myself. But now, I am prepared to embrace this vulnerability. This does not imply that every aspect of our lives is flawless or that everything suddenly makes sense. Rather, it signifies my willingness to confront the chaos and turmoil alongside you instead of enduring another day pretending to be fine without you. I have come to understand a significant truth about love: it does not wait for the perfect moment, it disregards convenience. It simply occurs, and then it demands to be acknowledged. That is precisely where I find myself now. My affection for you cannot be postponed or organized anymore. It is present, it is powerful, it is authentic, and it belongs to you. As I contemplate our future, I do not envision a flawless fairy tale. I see the reality filled with challenges, disagreements, and instances where we will need to exert more effort than we anticipated. Nevertheless, I also see us supporting one another through it all. I envision us sharing laughter in the kitchen, engaging in late-night conversations when the world feels overwhelming, and building something that is uniquely ours. I recognize that our journey has not been entirely smooth. There were periods when my silence seemed like distance, and my hesitation might have appeared as doubt. However, it was never doubt, my love. It was always hope, hope that when I finally turned to you, I would be able to stay and that I would not have to depart again. So, here I am, articulating this without reservation, without eluding the significance of my words. You are the individual I desire, you are the person I choose, and I refuse to look back. Before I conclude, I wish to share something heartfelt. Creating this video and opening myself up in this manner is not something I take lightly. I have dedicated my time, energy, and utmost honesty to share this piece of myself with you. If this message resonates with you, if it touches your heart, I invite you to show your appreciation by clicking the super thanks button below. It has never been about the amount, it is about recognizing that our connection is meaningful enough for you to leave your mark on it. Because, my dear, this is not solely my narrative, it is our narrative, and I wish to continue narrating it, chapter after chapter, until there is nothing left to conceal.